Hi, this is Pete Rose. Join me in the Cincinnati Reds right here, 1986 Cincinnati Reds baseball.
It's opening day, 1986. The Philadelphia Phillies meet the Cincinnati Reds live from Riverfront Stadium. Today's game is brought to you by Bud Light, the light beer with a first name and taste. Everything else is just a light. And by your Toyota dealers, to remind you to get more from life. Buckle up. Who could ask for anything more? And by Long John Silver's Seafood Shop. Another opening of another show, and in Cincinnati, the opening is another baseball season, and in this town, it is truly unique. It's the Reds against the Philadelphia Phillies before a standing room-only crowd. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Marty Brennaman, along with Joe Nuxall. So pleased that you're spending a very special afternoon with us. Joe, you're 35th. As a player and as a broadcaster, it still represents something big.
Well, Marty, I've said so many times, you just can't prepare for opening day in Cincinnati. It's a special day, not only for the ball players, but all of the great fans of this area, and boy, I hope we have a good one.
Well, we've got Steve Physiak, our colleague, standing by on the field with a very excited young man. Steve?
I guess a little bit nervous, Tracy Jones. You could be this afternoon. You're making your first starts. Sellout crowd, jam-packed. Are you?
I'm always nervous. Even in practice, I'm nervous. But this is a great opportunity for me, and I'm going to make the most out of it.
What do you want to be able to show Cincinnati today?
Just that you got a ball player in Tracy Jones that gives 100%. And I run every ball out, and I try to play like my manager.
Tracy, good luck today.
Thanks.
Tracy Jones of the Cincinnati Reds will come back with the starting lineups and play-by-play action of today's game between the Phillies and Reds after these words.
Executive producer of Reds Baseball is Lou Rainoni. Producer-director Roy Alfers. Network coordinator Calvin Washington. Cincinnati Reds Baseball is a multimedia sports presentation.
Hi, John Felski, manager of the Philadelphia Phillies, and here's our opening day lineup for 1986. Leading off for us and playing left field is a familiar face here, Gary Reedus. Batting second will be our center fielder, Milt Thompson. Batting third and playing second base will be our Juan Samuel. Batting fourth, a local kid out of Ohio, Mike Schmidt, playing third base. Batting fifth, our right fielder had a big year last year for us, Glenn Wilson. Hitting sixth will be our first baseman, Bon Hayes. Batting seventh will be our young catcher, Darren Dalton. Batting eighth will be Steve Jeltz, our shortstop. And pitching, Steve Carlton.
Pete Rose, 24th opening day as a Major League Baseball player. This, unlike today, he is not a combatant. Of course, on the disabled list, but hoping to manage his ball club to an opening day win with right-hander Mario Soto on the mound. So Pete will play the role of spectator as the Reds take the field, and Steve the defense for the Cincinnati Reds.
Well, Pete Rose likes this lineup. Nick Osaski will move from left field to first base. Ron Oster is at second base. Davey Concepcion, 13th opening day. Buddy Bell, his first. He grew up, went to Moeller High School, went to the University of Miami, his first opening day at third base. Tracy Jones, the rookie in left field. Eric Davis in center field. Dave Parker is in right. Behind the plate, making his first opening day as a Cincinnati Red since coming over last August, is Bo Diaz. And Mario Soto on the mound. And Mario said he really anticipates a good showing. He is 3 wins in his last 3 opening days. And there you say a look at last year's record thus far this spring. He has been just fine. 3 wins, 2 losses, innings pitched 34. And the thing I like about the way Mario Soto is throwing recently, Marty, is just the fact that he's thrown so well at the late stages of spring training.
Well, Steve, he's been around long enough now. He's a veteran in this Major League Baseball world. He knows what he has to do to get ready. He worked more innings this spring than he did last year, but the thing you look for, just like you look for a club collectively, is that they get things together the last week or so. They peak. They're ready to open the season, and I think we saw signs of that from this ball club the way they played the final 7 days down in Florida.
And if you see a little bit of that grizzle on the face, that's because he didn't want to shave this morning. He wanted that mean look. He wanted his game face on. And we're ready for baseball.
And we remind you this copyrighted telecast comes to you through the courtesy of Multimedia Broadcasting, authorized under television rights granted by the Cincinnati Reds, solely for the entertainment of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, or accounts of this game without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds is prohibited. There's a leadoff batter, Gary Reedus. Last year, he was in a Cincinnati Reds uniform. The trade came about that sent him on to the Philadelphia Phillies, and I think as Gary expected, he's getting somewhat mixed reviews. More because of some comments that he had in the late stages of last year when he felt that the Reds were a better ball club with Pete Rose sitting down and Gary Reedus in the lineup. The trade came about. He's had a good spring for this Philadelphia ball club, and I think the thing Gary wants to prove is that maybe Pete Rose was wrong. Maybe Gary Reedus, given the chance to play every day, can become a star in this league, and only the days and the weeks and the months will tell that story. Mario Soto checks over with third baseman Buddy Bell. He looks into Diaz. The right-hander winds, kicks, and fires. It is outside for a ball, and the 1986 baseball season is underway. It is a glorious day in Cincinnati. 70-degree temperatures, nothing but blue skies overhead, and of course the stadium is jammed. Let's see if Jones can catch it. He couldn't, and Reedus will head on to second base. So Tracy Jones, if he had jitters, and you had to think he did, hopefully they have now disappeared because, Steve, he attacked that ball very tentatively.
Yes, he did. As a matter of fact, Pete Rose said before the ball game, he said, the reason I wanted to start Tracy Jones and not Kurt Stillwell because of nerves, because I don't want a nervous infielder out there as a rookie. Tracy Jones coming on for this one. Looks like he has a play. Has it in his glove, but then as his glove hit the turf, it bounced free. And again, he's got to be maybe replaying that one in his mind right now.
And Gary Reedus getting credited with a two-base hit, so the Phillies try to score, and boy, Soto really buzzes the number 2 batter, Milt Thompson. Leadoff double by Reedus. Thompson, like Gary before him, a member of another ball club last season. He was with the Atlanta Braves, where in limited time batted .302. A lot of speed in the top third of this Philadelphia batting order. Soto can't find the handle. And the Phillies have him on the corners, just like that.
Well, this was simply a sacrifice bunt, and Mario apparently wanting to take a look at third base to find out where Gary Reedus was, and all of a sudden you've got Milt Thompson, who has terrific speed, particularly from the left side of the plate, and he opens up and just gets out of the chute in a hurry. So Soto kind of maybe taking a look at the runner before the baseball, and all of a sudden with Thompson's speed, he's got to say he's by the bag, and he was, and in trouble here in the first.
If you're scoring with us, credit Thompson with a sacrifice, charge Soto with an error. So they've got the two speedsters at third and first, Reedus at third, Thompson at first, and here's second baseman Juan Samuel. Last year, 19 homers, 74 runs batted in. He cracked 3 home runs during spring training and knocked in 13. Soto came close. A revamped Philadelphia Philly baseball team. They've got a lot of folks. In fact, the starting lineup that John Felski has on the field today, only 4 were born and raised in the Phillies organization. Samuel, of course, qualifies as such, but as we mentioned, Reedus and Thompson before him do not. Gary in the Reds organization, Milt Thompson with the Atlanta Braves. Ball 1.
Man, he does have the speed in the lineup. Remember John Felski last year saying with Von Hayes, Jeff Stone, and Juan Samuel, we can steal 200 bases. They only stole 90, but with these guys, with Reedus and Thompson and Samuel, they can steal the 200.
Soto will check again. He's concerned about Milt Thompson, and again it points up the great speed the Philadelphia Phillies represent at the top of the batting order. Del Unser coming out of the first base coaching box and having a word with Thompson, and now we get set to go at it again. 1-0 on Samuel. Thompson getting a good lead over at first. He's off. The throw by Diaz, not in time, and the Phillies have him at second and third on the steal by Milt Thompson.
They have everything going their way. Really a good throw from Bo Diaz, but Milt Thompson beat Mario Soto. He has the high leg kick here, and Thompson gets a very good jump. I thought Diaz handled the pitch extremely well and threw a strike to the second baseman, but Milt Thompson was just able to beat the throw.
Diaz got a good quick throw off and a good throw, but the thing that set it up was the good jump that Milt Thompson had at first base on Soto's motion. So Mario now goes back to the full windup. The 2-0 pitch coming to Samuel, and that's taken a strike on the outside. Got a veteran umpiring crew working today. Behind the plate, John Kibler at first. Our old buddy Bruce Spanky Fremming. Randy Marsh from right here in Cincinnati at second. And at third, Bob Davidson. 2-1 on Samuel. Nobody will go. And there's one of them.
Man, it is really nice having Buddy Bell at third base. He won a Gold Glove for 5 times in the American League, and what a tremendous influence he is on this ball club. The way he was able to gobble it up and very confidently look Reedus back at third base. He's one of the best over there.
So Mario Soto a third of the way home, and here's a guy who has just wreaked havoc on Reds pitching in a great big league career, whether it be at Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia or right here at Riverfront, and they're not going to give him a chance. They'll take the bat out of the hands of Mike Schmidt and intentionally walk him to load him up.
Well, he is Mr. Danger. Last year, he had just a horrible beginning, Mike Schmidt, but then came on down the stretch. And I would agree with this. It sets up the force at every position. You've got Glenn Wilson, another right-hander. It's not like Von Hayes is coming up next.
Well, I think the thing that might ultimately determine a better year for Mike Schmidt is the fact that he's not going to bounce around this season. He opened at third. They made the experiment of moving him to first base. He accepted that. He's opening the year at third, and from all indications from John Felsky, he will remain at third base throughout the course of the season. You witness a meeting going on now involving Soto and Diaz and Buddy Bell. The table is set for right fielder Glenn Wilson, and here's a guy who had a big year last year. There's Reedus at third, Thompson at second base, and Schmidt, who just got the intentional walk. 102 RBIs for Wilson last season. He's down a strike.
He is vulnerable to the strikeout. Had 117 Ks at the plate. Doesn't walk really that much. Only 35 a year ago.
He comes off the bench hacking. Just missing outside. Soto even on him at 1 ball, 1 strike. This is the 5th consecutive opening day assignment for Mario Soto, and that equals the club record set by Pete Donahue way back in the 20s. That'll get a run in. Reedus from third. The other 2 runners hold, and Philadelphia takes a 1-0 lead. So Glenn Wilson has the distinction of driving in the first run of the season. His sacrifice fly to center, and the Philadelphia first inning will continue for left-handed batting first baseman Von Hayes.
And you know what, Marty? I guess Sparky Anderson found out he shouldn't mess with the Cincinnati Reds on opening day.
Much.
You know, he jumped in there, had the 1:30 start, a half hour before Cincinnati. First pitch of the ball game by Jack Morris. What happens?
Dwight Evans hit it out.
You got that.
First pitch of the year, and it's 1-0 Boston, just like that up at Tiger Stadium.
Don't mess with tradition.
You don't fool with Mother Nature, do you, pal? Hayes also with power. He had 13 homers. It was 3 years ago that this young man was the lone player in a 5-for-1 swap. He was with the Cleveland Indians. He came over to the Philadelphia Phillies. Really had trouble adjusting that first year in the National League. But he is a fine player. 2 balls and no strikes. Well, Mario Soto, I would imagine, would consider himself fortunate if he could get out of the first inning having allowed but 1 run. Predicated, of course, on what Mr. Hayes does. Thompson at second. Schmidt at first. The Phillies have scored 1 time, and they're 2 men out. That is going to get some more folks around. Thompson being waved in. They're going to wave Schmidt home. They might have a play. Oster's throw for Diaz. And the Phillies lead at 3-0 on a 2-base hit by Von Hayes.
best arms in baseball for a second baseman. Throwing a little bit low. It's kind of skipped Bo Diaz with that big soft glove. Really couldn't get his hands on it. And Bon Hayes, who has just great power, able to turn on this Mario Soto pitch. And here's the slide by Mike Schmidt. They had a chance to get him, but Bo was not able to hold on. And we've got ourselves a 3-0 ball game.
That brings up Darren Daulton, and in what was a 1-1 inning now becomes a 3-run inning, and things not going too well for Mr. Soto. Daulton 204 last year in 36 games for this Philadelphia club. 2-0 to him. He's half of the catching tandem that Philadelphia fans will be watching throughout the course of the season, the other being John Russell. Right now, Scott Breeden, the new Reds pitching coach, succeeding Jim Cott, figures it's time, per word from Pete Rose, to go out and visit with Mario Soto, who appears to be a little bit upset with the way things have gone.
And you know, Marty, if Mario has any kind of difficulty at all, it's just the fact that at times he'll lose his concentration. He will let things affect him. All right, there's a 3-0 ball game. He's got to say, forget about it. Let's go after Darren Daulton and let our bats do the work. But in the past, he's let one certain play bother him for the rest of the game.
And after a while, Steve, that is something that you have to be able to overcome. You can accept it from a young player, but when you've been around and have had a measure of success like he has had in this game, sooner or later you've got to realize that that is a detriment to your ability to perform. He's a pitch away from walking Daulton. And I don't know that he's really trying all that hard to retire Daulton. You've got the shortstop and 8-batter Steve Jeltz coming up next. First base is open anyway. And you'll take your chances with him despite an outstanding spring. And John Felski expecting the same because he turned Daulton loose on that 3-0 pitch. Second-year skipper of the Philadelphia Phillies. Will he be under fire this season to produce an improved Philadelphia ball club? Time will tell. Very laid-back gentleman, John Felski. There's ball 4.
Two walks for Mario Soto and the Phillies, who lost their opener a year ago with Steve Carlton on the mound, 6-0, off to a fine advantage. And Carlton has to feel pretty comfortable in the dugout, although he has not won in over 10.5 months.
Steve Jeltz represents a very interesting story. This young man right now batting left-handed for the first time ever in a major league ball game. He turned himself into a switch hitter, working hour upon hour against a batting machine at the University of Kansas over the winter. And what a spring he had. He batted .423 with a home run and 15 RBIs. 3 in, 2 on, 2 men out. Phillies still batting the first. And the count is even.
Hey, I broadcast his Legion baseball games for the Lawrence Lions in Lawrence, Kansas. An outstanding shortstop, only batted from the right side, but at that time he weighed about 145 pounds. He's darn near up to 183, put on 15 pounds over the winter.
Trying to do further damage, Jeltz, and he swings and he misses. He is getting a big opportunity simply because of the injury suffered during spring training by former Red Tom Foley, who suffered the broken wrist and is not due back until sometime in early May. Jeltz has a chance right now, between now and then, to prove that that position belongs to him. Soto looking for a strike. Oster, diving stop, and a run-saving play by Ron Oster. He just saved another Philadelphia run with a stop out behind second base, and the bases are loaded.
And here comes Steve Carlton, who's a pretty good hitter on his own right. But Ron Oster, what a great play to keep that run from scoring. Oster just backhanding the baseball in a prone position. This is why he is regarded one of the best in baseball. Backhands it, really no chance at getting Jeltz, who has terrific speed at first base, but gave it a good effort. And just headlong dive. And you know what saved that? Batting from the left side.
Sure did. We're going to get activity in the Reds bullpen. Carlton now, pitcher against pitcher, and Soto way high. The script did not call for this kind of start. That's Ron Robinson.
Not at all. Mario Soto won in 82, 83, and 84.
Carlton shoots it foul. It all started when Reedus hit a soft fly ball into shallow left field that Tracy Jones had but then lost for a double. Thompson put down a sacrifice bunt, and he was on through the error by Soto. Later, a sacrifice fly by Wilson, a 2-run double by Hayes. The Phillies still swing the bats, and Carlton jumps out in front. Pete Rose wasting no time. He gets that bullpen active right now. And it's ball 3. Fans getting a little bit antsy too. Soto has to throw a strike. And he did. It's full. 3-2.
Well, everything started today at 2:05. So far, so good with the parade, the sunshine, sellout crowd.
Been a bummer since that first pitch, though, pal. Here comes a big one. And a high, deep drive hit back into right field. Parker looks like he has room. The inning is... Wow! Carlton gave it a ride, but not quite far enough. 3 runs, 3 hits, 1 error, 3 men left. After a half inning of opening day, the Phillies 3, and the Reds are coming to bat.
Today's starting lineup, Eric Davis will lead off and play center field. Hitting second, Buddy Bell at third base. Hitting third, last year's MVP as far as I'm concerned, Dave Parker, playing right field. Hitting fourth, Nick Osowski, who started first base today. Hitting fifth, young Tracy Jones, only rookie in the lineup today. Had a great spring training. Hitting sixth, Old Faithful, Davey Concepcion, is shortstop, who had a very, very good spring. Hitting seventh, the new catcher from Philadelphia, Bo Diaz, who also had a great spring. Hitting eighth, Mr. Consistency as far as I'm concerned, Ronnie Oster, second base. And pitching and hitting ninth, one of the best pitchers in the league, if not the best pitcher in the league, Mario Soto, had a great spring.
Well, Mario Soto is down 3-0, and here's a look at the Phillies defense. Von Hayes at first, Juan Samuel, Steve Jeltz is the shortstop, Mike Schmidt at third, Gary Reedus in left field, Milt Thompson is in center, Glenn Wilson in right field, Darren Dalton behind home plate, and Steve Carlton on the mound.
And first pitch hitting, Eric Davis grounds to Mike Schmidt, and the Gold Glover wings him out on the throw across to Von Hayes. 1 down very quickly. Lefty Steve Carlton making his 14th opening day assignment and his 8th in a row. That's what his story was in 1985. Steve had some rotator cuff problems that did not require surgery, but he only made 16 starts all year. The record, the earned run average, was decent. Everything decent, as a matter of fact, except that 1 loss mark. And now Carlton has thrown 2 pitches. And there are 2 men out as Samuel ranges out to make the play. So if nothing else, the Reds are aggressive here in the first inning, down 3-0.
Yes, indeed. And, you know, Eric Davis, before the ball game, I said, how do you handle Steve Carlton? He says, just wait him out, be patient. Well, we've seen 2 pitches, 2 outs, and I didn't see that patience. But Cincinnati has time. The one thing about Carlton, he's always going to be around there. Claude Osteen says in spring training he's never seen him hit those corners nearly so well. He only threw those 7 innings in spring training.
Here's a big guy. Parker 312 last year, 34 homers, 125 RBIs, 5th highest average in the National League. And he lines one, and it's going to be cut off deep in the gap. And let's see, Dave's going for 2. And he's got it. He put just a little stutter step as he rounded first and then made up his mind.
Well, he had his eyes right on Milt Thompson the entire way. Here he's watching the ball going to that. He knows he has the base hit, but he watches Thompson go at it really not very aggressively. Stumbled there, and Parker knew he had it. Went in sliding and has himself a double.
Osowski hits it foul and hard. And the Reds are going after early pitches, and I've really got to believe, Steve, that this is something that maybe Pete Rose told him. You can't have that many hitters in 1 inning go up and go to wailing on early pitches, and apparently the Reds are looking for anything good and going after it right now. Jeltz tested at shortstop in a very quick first inning for Cincinnati. No runs, the double by Parker. He's left at second base, and at the end of 1 complete, in the beginning of the 1986 baseball season, the Phillies lead it 3-0. Phillies batted around in the first inning, leading 3-0, and they'll start through their order for the second straight time now. Reedus, a double, a run scored in the first inning, and Soto hoping for better things as he slings a call strike. Should be played by Osowski and will be. Quickly one away. Steve, that first base spot, with respect to Nick, is going to be interesting today. Did not play that position all spring. Certainly no newcomer to first base because we've seen him play there in the last couple of years, but this is day one for him at that position as far as the new season is concerned. Here's Davey. He's got to hurry. Thompson can get down that line, but they're 2 out.
Davey can get rid of that throw as well as anybody, but Nick, as a matter of fact, Marty, you were saying about the fact that he had not picked up the glove at all in spring training. He said he had to oil it yesterday in yesterday's 2 o'clock workout. And right now he has fielded flawlessly, but Davey Concepcion certainly helped out that play. I'm waiting for one of those deep in the hole where he's got to take it off the turf bounces jobs from Davey.
Juan Samuel, one of the outs in the first. He bounced out to Bell. Mario Soto trying to get his act together after a rough first inning. Tracy Jones. 3 out. Looked a little bit more authoritative that time. And the Phillies go down. 1, 2, 3. We are in the middle of the second inning. And the Phillies have that 3-0 lead over Cincinnati. A look at the great crowd here at Riverfront Stadium this afternoon in the background, and that's a sad but true tale if you're a Cincinnati Reds fan. The rookie Tracy Jones standing in for his first major league at-bat. And the veteran Carlton going to work on him.
The words from Pete Rose to Tracy Jones before the ball game. He said, if you don't get a hit your first time up during the game, I'm sending you to Denver.
Well, let's hope he does. He's in front 2-0. We'd like to extend get well wishes to Randy Marsh's mom. Randy umpiring a second today, and we know she's watching. Dude Marsh in Christ Hospital convalescing from surgery. Now Jones got good wood on it, but had the misfortune of hitting it to the deepest part of the ballpark, and Thompson makes a play.
Well, he's heading back to the dugout, so that's a good sign. Tracy said, I like pressure.
Now Dave Concepcion, and as Pete pointed out when he went through the starting lineups for this opening day game, indeed, the Reds veteran shortstop had an outstanding spring. He batted .386 with a home run, knocked in 9 runs, and as we pointed out a number of times in our television games from spring training, the presence of a young man by the name of Kurt Stillwell, I would imagine, had a whole lot to do with the great spring Davey enjoyed. Ball strike.
Well, he was playing like his early 30s days.
Sure was.
It's looking like his late 30s last year, but Kurt Stillwell certainly was the fountain of youth.
Carlton with an off-speed pitch to fall behind. Carlton is not going to strike out people like he used to. They clocked him around 85 miles an hour in spring training. Doesn't have that overpowering slider. He had the best in probably all of Major League Baseball when he was at the top of his game, but the man knows how to pitch. He will get by with great experience and the addition of a good screwball. Full count on the shortstop. Phillies 3, Reds nothing. Cincinnati batting in their half of the second. Here's a payoff. And the Reds have their second hit.
Well, it's the veteran Cincinnati Reds doing the job. Dave Parker with that double back in the first with 2 outs. The Reds with 1 out, and Davey able to punch that high fastball right up the middle and by Carlton and the second baseman Juan Samuel. So perhaps something going here with Mr. Diaz.
Former Philly. He'd like to do against Carlton in the Phillies what Reedus did against Soto and the Reds in the first inning. And Bo gets down a strike. I don't think he cared for that call by plate umpire John Kibler. His combined numbers with both the Reds and the Phillies last season. In the dirt, but Davey not going anywhere. And it was interesting to note, as Carlton made his look to first and came to the plate, he had Davey going back to first. He has one of the truly great moves in this game. Year in, year out, he'll pick off a bunch of people at first base, and if any pitcher can get any runner to be going back toward the bag, he's accomplished what he has set out to do. Base hit. Back-to-back 1-out singles. Bo Diaz banging one by Samuel at shortstop.
And here it is again. Bo Diaz just waiting on the breaking pitch well. And, well, he didn't really hit down on the ball like Billy DeMars wants him to, but he was able to get a piece of it and just drive it between third and short.
So the tying run comes to the plate, and Red second baseman Ron Oster. And there's another base hit. Here's a throw by Wilson. Cut off. And it's a 3-1 ball game as the Reds start the road back.
Marty, I think you're absolutely right about Pete Rose's assessment. The fact that go after Carlton. Don't let him get in front of you where you have the count 0-2 and all of a sudden you're hitting his pitch. Go after the pitch right away. If you feel it's in the strike zone, your area to hit the baseball. Ron Oster did just that, and the Reds have a nice little rally going here with Soto an opportunity to help himself out.
Well, the Phillies are kind of expecting that Soto is going to bunt. Samuel, or rather Hayes at first, is already playing inside of Oster. Mike Schmidt at the moment is about even up with the bag, so let's see how Pete Rose will play it here. Good bunt. No, it wasn't. And it almost turned out to be a double play. Schmidt came up firing to get the force play at second. So it really doesn't work with runners now at first and third, and Eric Davis coming back for an encore.
I'm telling you, you have a young man watching this ball game on TV. You're going to watch two of the best defensive third basemen in the game. Mike Schmidt and Buddy Bell. Combined, they've won about 13 gold gloves. And Schmidt almost knew right away where he was going to throw that baseball. Samuel, who does not turn it quite that well as Mario Soto hustling down to first base, is able to beat it out. But terrific play by Mike Schmidt.
Davis is 0 for 1. He grounded out first pitch hitting to Schmidt in the first. We've not completed 2 innings of baseball, and both teams are already on the board. The Phillies with 3, the Reds with 1. Down the line, but it's bending. Loud foul, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike on young Mr. Davis. Reedus sporting a beard now. Now, how many players have left this ball club and all of a sudden that facial hair crops up? 1 ball, 1 strike. Davis trying to make it 4-3.
Eric was talking about the facial hair. He says, you know, I don't shave. I shave about twice a month, and he said maybe I made it to the right ball club because I don't need to wear the facial hair. He says I put fertilizer on it. I do all kinds of things to grow.
Well, with all the youth on this club, I guarantee you he's not the only one that doesn't shave every day. Kurt Stillwell might be lucky if he shaves once every month and a half. 2 balls, 2 strikes. That's hit well. Back into deep right field. It's got a chance. It's gone. Eric Davis, this bud is for you. A 3-run home run, and Cincinnati leads by a run as he lights them up in Riverfront.
And that may just be things to come this year. A lot of people said he struck out too much last year. Couldn't be a leadoff hitter. Hey, Vince Coleman of the St. Louis Cardinals struck out a ton last year, but did the job for the St. Louis Cardinals. This is that short, compact swing. Gets his arms extended. The ball out over the plate, drives at the opposite field, and Glenn Wilson just running out of room, and the Reds have a lead.
Buddy Bell takes the strike. And he takes the ball. Well, Eric Davis showed a couple of years ago that August surge he had when he put on a home run exhibition at Candlestick Park in San Francisco and Jack Murphy Stadium in San Diego, and he hit them out of all fields. And he goes opposite field today, and Bell has a base hit. And the second continues, and the hit parade is on here for the Cincinnati Reds.
have been ball 2, breaking pitch, really low. Buddy, who has a great eye and really quick hands, was able to delay his front foot into the pitch right here. There's the breaking stuff. And he goes down, and man, it's shoe tops.
Steve, that's a pretty good pitch by Carlton now. I mean, if he can get hitters to chase that pitch, he's going to have a lot of success. Buddy made the most of a tough situation. Dave Parker 1 for 1. He doubled into the gap in right center, and the Phillies will get their bullpen active now.
Marty, I'll tell you, I think Pete Rose made a terrific move to start the game to say, hey, guys, I've seen this guy my whole life. Go after him right away.
Well, they sure have flat done that. You saw right-hander Larry Anderson loosening in the Phillies bullpen, and Carlton giving Parker back-to-back off-speed pitches, and Davis looked bad on both swings.
Here comes a fastball.
Steve Carlton does not have to worry about Buddy Bell going anywhere. Very deep for Parker, and the inning is over, but a bountiful second for Cincinnati, highlighted by Eric Davis's 3-run home run. The Reds score 4 times on 5 hits. Going to the third, 4-3 Cincinnati. The Reds lead at 4-3 thanks to that young man Eric Davis, who cranked one a goodly distance long enough to get out of here the other way off of a Steve Carlton breaking ball with 2 on in the last inning, just clearing the inner wall over the leaping Glenn Wilson, and that turned a 2-run deficit into a 1-run lead. There's Carol Rose, Pete's wife, and Tyler. Boy, I'll tell you, he was something on that charter flight back from Tampa the other day. He is very, very content to sit right there for a while. For a while, we underline those words.
That sounds like Ashley.
Yeah, Ashley's all like Joe said. Somebody said, where's Ashley sitting today? Joe says she'll be sitting anywhere she wants to, and it might be anywhere in the ballpark. Here's Mike Schmidt, as Soto now has been given a 1-run lead. A couple of folks that we want to say hello to this afternoon and certainly miss them around the ballpark. Tom Clark, who is ill, and our old buddy Bill Shillman, one of the fine photographers in the Cincinnati area, also unable to be out of here. And that might be a tie ball game. Schmidt has done it to the Reds. A leadoff home run here in the third, and we start from scratch at 4 apiece.
Mario Soto led the National League, led the major leagues, as a matter of fact, in home runs allowed last year. He allowed 30. Got the pitch up. He's trying to work with that slider a little bit more into his situation. But last year, a lot of the opposition said they would just wait on that changeup. And when it would come, that's the one they were timing themselves for.
Glenn Wilson going the other way, and Dave Parker will not have a problem with that one. So far, it has not been a day for pitchers. Each of them, and 2 good ones. Carlton and Mario Soto have been touched up for 4 runs apiece, and we are only in the 3rd inning. Von Hayes back for the 2nd time. He had a big hit in that Philadelphia 3-run first inning when he doubled a right to drive in 2. These 2 clubs will have an off day tomorrow. Both of them will work out at Riverfront. The Phillies at noon, the Reds at 2. And then wrap up the series and this very brief homestand at 7:35 on Wednesday night. Esaski, foul ball. Quickly 2 strikes on Hayes. Reds will be seeing another left-hander in that game, and Shane Rawley, formerly in the Reds organization back some years ago. And Cincinnati will go with a left-hander of their own, and 20-game winner Tom Browning, who had the great season in '85.
Well, they really feel they'll go with a 3-man rotation, maybe even until May, because they have so many off days that it looks like Rawley, Kevin Gross, and then Steve Carlton, and then Charlie Hudson, who did not have a very good spring. They really are a little unhappy with that young man, the way he's been pitching, but he'll be the number 4 man as soon as they get to May.
You're right. They originally had planned on pitching 2 right-handers in this series. Kevin Gross today, Charlie Hudson on Wednesday night, but because of Hudson's inability to do the job in spring training, John Felski went totally the other way with 2 left-handers. Soto throwing nothing but strikes to Hayes. have next catcher Darren Dalton. One ball, 2 strikes. Reds have been highly successful in the last dozen years in winning opening day games. They have won 10 out of the last 12. Nothing but a loud foul, and it's 1-2 and holding on the Philadelphia first baseman.
This might be the situation that Mario wants to go with that new added slider. He's been able to get it up in the strike zone lately. Let's see if he has some confidence in it.
Well, he came in on Hayes' hands, but Vaughn got the bat around and got a piece of it. I would imagine if you took a poll of the Philadelphia players, Steve, this would be their least favorable park to play in the National League in light of the way the Reds have handled them over the last few years. Cincinnati 45-22 in the last 67 matchups against the Philadelphia club here at Riverfront. That goes back to the middle of the '74 season. And of course includes one league championship game when the Reds swept them 3 in a row or won that series in 3 straight in 1976. Hayes just swung at ball 3.
And for Steve Carlton, he has had the least amount of success against any major league team against Cincinnati, 14-19. Now, this is a hitter's ballpark, and it's much like the vet.
It's been a hitter's ballpark today, I'll tell you. 4-4 tie, 1 out. Mike Schmidt has tied the game up with a leadoff home run in this third. And Hayes swinging at just about everything that Mario Soto throws up there at the moment. That'll be in play. And it'll be Nicky Saski for out number 2. We're talking about the catching situation with respect to Philadelphia. They traded away Ozzie Virgil. A lot of the media people in Philadelphia condemning Bill Giles and his organization over letting a guy like that get away. And, well, they're casting their lots with Dalton, who is a better defensive receiver, and John Russell, who is a better offensive player. They've got the 2 ingredients. The only problem is that one has one and one has the other. Dalton got an intentional walk in the first inning. And that's going to be a perfect third for Soto. The Phillies are perfect third on the contrary. They get 1 run on 1 hit. Schmidt hit the leadoff home run. Soto gets Wilson, Hayes, and Dalton in order. But at the end of 2.5 innings, it's comeback baseball at Riverfront, with the Reds and the Phillies all locked up at 4. We go to the bottom half of the third. The Phillies struck first. The Reds came back to take the lead. Philadelphia has tied it up. And now it's Nicky Saski leading off the Cincinnati third with a count all even against Carlton at 1 ball and 1 strike. Nick's 0 for 1, bouncing out third to first in the first inning. He went down and got that pitch, but not deep enough. Thompson just a step out of the warning track. Saski really did not get all of that ball and hit it a long, long way.
Again, a perfect pitch by Steve Carlton, and man, he took it off the shoe tops and lifted it to the center field. I was really surprised it got out that far.
Now here's Tracy Jones.
Still with the club.
Still with the club. He didn't get the word in between at bats that you're headed for Denver, young man, so take your whacks again. Call strike. Began last season at Vermont, where he hit .317, was brought up to Denver, and at the AAA level batted .337. Native Californian, one of 5 rookies on this Cincinnati ball club. Paul O'Neill, Cal Daniels, the other outfielders, shortstop Stillwell, and pitcher Scott Terry. Ball 2 and a strike. Pete and I talked about it before the game. I cannot ever remember a contending club opening the season with this many rookies. Nor can Pete, but as he so aptly pointed out, hey, none of them are starters. The only reason Jones is today is because of Tony's inability to go as a result of that pulled thigh muscle. Jones will hang around with a full count.
And, you know, as we made our stops around spring training, everybody on the other clubs would talk about these 3 outfielders Cincinnati had. They say they're ready right now. The only problem is there's no spot for them.
3 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. Pitch. He walked. Jones is on with a go-ahead if the Reds can get him around.
interesting situation with number 29 at first base, Tracy Jones. Big guy, 6'3", 215 pounds, and you'd say, well, he doesn't have very good speed. He's got good speed, plus he's so aggressive. His stolen base totals in the minor leagues were amazing, with 46 out of 48 attempts just a year ago.
Dave Concepcion hoping to go 2 for 2. He's a fella who got things started in the last inning with 1 out when he grounded one up the middle. That was the first of a 5-hit inning for Pete Rose's ball club. No balls and 2 strikes.
But I'll tell you, with Steve Carlton on the mound, I'd take that stolen base ratio and put it in my back pocket. Now I want to see a couple of moves over at first base.
Steve Carlton can render the most prolific base stealers to average.
Have you ever seen a situation where you think it's going to be a balk and it's never called? Never seen a guy who could disguise one so well.
Well, people have said for many years that he balks on almost every move. The runner going, and he's got it. His first steal attempt in the big leagues, and thank you very much.
Boy, did he cross us up. You talk about aggressive. He was going. Carlton didn't give him the throw over. He gets the jump. He doesn't have a very good lead, but he simply beat Carlton's throw to home plate because Carlton had already made the move that committed himself, and apparently Tracy read it well enough and figured, I'm going.
And it helped that Darren Dalton released a very high throw. He came very close to slinging that ball into center field. Near the line, Jones will tag, and he'll go into third base sliding. He could have gotten there standing up.
Some guys just play a little better dirty, and I think Tracy Jones is one of those. Get a little dirt on the old uniform and let me play my baseball.
Well, he told you in the pregame interview he plays like his manager plays.
Head first slide into second base.
Nothing wrong with trying to get a few points every now and then, especially when you're a rookie. Bo Diaz had a base hit in the second. Go ahead, run at third, 2 out.
You know, Marty, funny story about Tracy Jones. I talked to him earlier in spring training. He said somewhere along the line, I'm going to have a talk with Pete Rose. And I said, you're going to have a talk with Pete Rose?
1 ball, 1 strike. 4th inning from Tiger Stadium. Boston leading Detroit 2-1 on home runs by Dwight Evans and Jim Rice. In the 3rd at Baltimore, Cleveland 3, the Orioles nothing. I think that Cleveland ball club's going to be improved this season. And after 1 in Chicago, Milwaukee and the White Sox, no score. Base hit. Reds lead 5-4. Bo Diaz 2 for 2, and his single sends Jones in with a go-ahead.
Nobody can read Steve Carlton any better than Bo Diaz. He has caught him for years and just waiting on that off-speed stuff and driving it back up the middle. 2 for 2.
Reds now with 7 hits, ground ball, shortstop. They get the force at second. The old left-hander, Joe Nuxall, is going to be joining Steve Physiak when we go to the 4th inning. And right now, at the end of 3, on a base hit by Diaz, the Reds lead the Phillies 5-4.
The Reds have the lead over the Philadelphia Phillies in the home opener 1986 style. And Marty Brennaman, he's gone to radio. Joe Nuxall joining me now. I know you're glad that maybe Mario Soto has settled down just a bit.
Well, we're glad to have the 5 runs, Steve. Yes, I think he's settled down, and you know, you work on feeling your position, and that was a big play in that first inning.
Joe, Mario's one of those pitchers you have to get him early. If you don't get him early, you're not going to get him at all.
Well, we hope that's true. And it is true.
We're ready for baseball. Base hit to right field. That's Steve Jeltz, who just tore up the spring with a .423 average. So Mario Soto has now given up 4 base hits to the Philadelphia Phillies. We have a 5-4 ball game. It's Cincinnati still clinging to that lead. Steve Jeltz with the base hit to right field, and Steve Carlton will now follow, and Carlton will indeed hit for himself. Carlton has given up 7 hits in the ball game and those 5 runs. Carlton trying to sacrifice down the third base side, but unable to do so. Strike 1. Steve, his first time up, drove one to the wall. A Mario Soto pitch. It would have been a 3-run home run, but hauling it in right at the warning track was Dave Parker. Ground ball. Second baseman Ron Oster. They try and turn the double play, and they will do it successfully. Ron Oster to David Concepcion to Nick Osaski.
Of course, a slug bunt, and this is, you hope that it hits a hole, but Ron Oster more or less staying in place and coming up and giving Davey a good throw, and of course Carlton not with a good speed that winds up an easy double play, and well, we can always accept something like that.
Joe, early in this ball game, was Mario just getting his pitches a little too high?
Well, I think, you know, the thing is, the big play of the inning was the bunt play. You know, if he comes up with that and throws the guy out, and it had been an easy plays out of the inning, but the ball that Mike Schmidt hit, you know, he's going to hit a lot. You can't, you know, you feel bad about it, but you know that Mike Schmidt can take you deep at any time. But, you know, he's all right. You get a little excited, but so do I.
35 opening days for Joe Nuxall and 5 for Mario Soto now that he has started. Here's the pitch. Fastball right down the middle. Strike 1. Nobody on. 1 hit in the inning, but that was a race in the Steve Carlton double play. And you know what Bo Diaz has done with Mario Soto? He's really gotten Mario to work more quickly on the mound. Misses. 1 ball, 1 strike. And I think that has helped his consistency, Joe, the fact that he's been able to get that first pitch over.
Well, it's important to get ahead of the hitters, and I think it makes everybody play better when you got a pitcher that's really working. Now, there was a slider that just got away from Mario, but it keeps everybody on the toes. I'm sure you've talked to individuals that like to play behind a Steve Carlton or Tom Browning. It keeps you in the ball game.
Here's the 2-1 pitch. And Gary Reedus goes efficient and fouls it off. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Reedus in the ball game 1 for 2. He doubled in the first and came around to score, and then grounded out to the first baseman Nick Osaski in the second. Hey, how are you feeling? You sound like you got a bad cold.
Well, I think somebody threw some sand down my throat.
Well, there's the good slider and a ground ball to Buddy Bell. Long throw. Got him. Great play by Buddy Bell. We head to the bottom of the 4th inning of play, and Cincinnati still leads Philadelphia 5-4.
Today's game is brought to you in part by Nestle Crunch. Chocolate is scrunches when it crunches. That's why you'll love Nestle Crunch. And by Lens Crafters. Highest quality eyeglasses in about an hour.
5-4 ball game. Cincinnati leads Philadelphia. Steve Carlton back to the mound at the bottom of the 4th, and Mario Soto going after the first pitch, and Mike Schmidt will throw him out. So Soto is cut down on Mike Schmidt's play. In the dugout for the Cincinnati Reds, we thought he might be starting, is the doggy, Tony Perez, and he has a pulled muscle. That's why Pete didn't want to play him at first base. Pete was telling him, Joe, he said, how can anybody as slow as you pull a muscle?
It shows you see horses pull muscles too, don't you?
Thoroughbreds.
But thing about Tony, I think he'll be ready Wednesday night. It just by not allowing him to play today, it gives him okay.
Lou Rainoni wanted to let us know, who's our executive producer. He wanted to let us know that Tony's a doggy, not a horsey.
Okay, fine, thank you. But I think he'll play Wednesday night. Just give him an extra day today, and then of course tomorrow an off day, so it gives him 2 extra days. And Tony, I talked to him, and he said it feels, you know, all right. He could have played today, but why take that chance?
Eric Davis after a breaking pitch with the count 1-1, and Steve Jeltz throws him out just barely. Davis can fly, as you know, and is the man who has damaged Steve Carlton the most in this afternoon's ball game with that big 3-run home run back in the second. So Davis now 1 for 3 in the game, and it brings us to Buddy Bell. This is such a big day for Buddy Bell. After playing in the American League for so many years, he's back in his hometown of Cincinnati and really excited about that. He has one strike to him. Bell rips one to left field. Gary Reedus right there makes the catch to end the inning. And at the end of 4, Cincinnati still leads Steve Carlton and the Phillies by that score. The earliest sellout at Riverfront Stadium since 1977, the year after the Reds won the World Series. We have a sellout crowd here again, and they're watching. The Reds lead the Phillies 5-4. Mario Soto back in the mound for his 5th inning of work, and the first pitch is fouled off by Milt Thompson.
There's more people here than there are in your hometown. Is that,
you better believe it. Us Kansas boys, you know, we got that acreage to plow and to cultivate.
I've been through Hayes, Kansas, Salinas, Kansas.
Salina.
Salina? Well, we have a Salina, Ohio, spelled totally different.
And they're probably listening in on the Reds television network this afternoon. Most of those folks,
Salinas, Ohio?
Salinas, Ohio, are smiling because their Reds have a 5-4 lead, Joe. Here's the wind and the pitch by Mario Soto, and that was a nice pitch right at the knees that Milt Thompson could just barely grab a piece of, and he is behind in the count 1-2. Phillies with 3 runs in the first, 1 more in the third to tie, but the Reds punched across a run in their half of the third to take the lead again. Here's Davey Concepcion. Got him, 1 down.
Well, Steve, that was a nice pitch by Mario. He'd been coming in on Milt Thompson. He went away with it, and you could see Thompson kind of reach for the ball, and just a friendly ground ball to Davey at short. And he's got things in gear right now, I think.
I remember Whitey Herzog, when talking about Mario Soto, he said he's really the best right-hander in baseball. Now, this was before Dwight Gooden came around.
Now, that was a good riding fastball. You can see that, those of you looking in see that ball really take off.
Well, he has the count his way, 0-1. Mario really I guess a 5-pitch pitcher. And I'll explain that after this. There's a fastball that misses. It's 0-1. And I guess explaining that, Joe, is the fact when I say he's a 5-pitch pitcher, he has the slide of the fastball and the change, but he throws really 3 different kind of changeups.
Well, you can make a straight change, and I say straight.
Drive to center field. Davis back to the warning track has the play. And there are 2 gone here in the 5th. So Samuel, who is one of the most talented offensive ball players in baseball, gives it a ride, but straightaway center field is rather unfriendly here at Riverfront.
See, Eric, I'd tell you, he's going to be one of the all-time great center fielders. He has such great speed, a great arm, and great hands. He's going to be outstanding.
Really does, and you look at him, and he's so slender. 175 pounds, but it seems like about 65 of those pounds are in the arms. Tremendous forearms, biceps, and wrists.
The home run he hit in the 2nd inning, Steve, I don't know that he would have hit that ball with that kind of authority last year or hit it at all.
One more good pitch by Mario Soto has popped up, and Ron Oster will take care of it and take care of the Philadelphia Phillies as well here in the 5th. Reds still lead 5-4. How can you not enjoy opening day at Riverfront Stadium? Those guys certainly are, and they're having a blast, particularly because their Reds are leading 5-4, and I guess, Joe, they're saying, hey, this bud's for you.
And that ain't all bad, as they say at the old ball orchard.
What's happening in Hamilton today? Are the streets rather silent?
Oh, Fairfield and Hamilton, there's no one on the streets. They got all the caution lights on because everybody's rooting for the Reds.
Everybody's inside watching the game on the Reds TV network, or they're right here at the ballpark, part of this big sellout crowd. Better than 53,000, they say today. Dave Parker. Pitch from Steve Carlton takes it outside, and the count is 1 ball and 1 strike. Parker against Carlton thus far, Joe, is 1 for 2 with a double and a ground out. And Parker drives one deep right center field. Get up!
most interesting trip of anybody in baseball around the bases. His fingers pointed down. He's something.
And Dave Parker, this bud's for you. The tip of the cap, and the Reds with a 6-4 lead over Philadelphia. Pete Rose with a pat on the back, and there's the pitch.
Boy, he got every last bit of that. And Thompson going back, but old Mills joins us. He becomes a spectator.
And we enjoyed that one extremely as Nick Osaski now comes to the plate, and Dave Parker continues getting the congratulations from his teammates as Mario Soto with now a 2-run cushion. In the bullpen, the right-hander throwing for the Philadelphia Phillies is Larry Anderson.
You talk about the crowd this afternoon, Steve, and certainly is a gentleman here that we're very, very happy to see. And boy, he's been to opening days for I don't know how many years, and it's really nice to see him be able to make another one. Cy Burek, and Cy had open heart surgery just 3 weeks ago, and he's here today and looks super.
He couldn't miss an opening day, could he?
No, he couldn't miss getting on me.
He's one of those guys, when you see him, it just brings a smile to your face. Here's the 3-2 pitch. Low, and Nick Osaski is on.
You know what really is amazing about the first 4+ innings? There's not a yeah, look, they're still interested down the dugout. Parkway is telling the folks how he got that top hand in that one.
Well, he was running hard round at first. He wasn't sure if Thompson was going to be able to get to it or not. Steve Carlton, he was really the damaged man 1 year ago. Had a fine earned run average, but had only 1 win 1 season ago, and trying to rebound from the difficulties he's had last year.
Well, of course, he had some arm problems, which is very, very strange for Steve. He's usually, I think his back he's had problems with, but never his arm. And because of the rigorous training he goes through, and it was really a surprise.
Tracy Jones, base hit left field. Gary Reedus will cut off the play and hold Jones to a single as Nick Osaski was rounding second, hesitated, and then said, "Al, stay put."
Hey, let's have that ball. Thank you, Bob Davidson. Let's see who gets the honor of picking it up. Let's see who gets the ball. Pete will get that, and is he going to hold on? There's the base hit right there. Beautiful swing. He hit that ball right on the button.
And, you know, we were walking into the clubhouse early this afternoon, and I said, "Tracy, remember these moments. Remember the media before the game. Remember the sellout crowd. These are the stories you'll tell your grandkids about." And he said, "You know, I've already been mentioning that to try and lock that into my brain."
Not there's grandkids, though.
Well, there will be a pitching change for Philadelphia. Steve Carlton, the 41-year-old left-hander, will walk in the mound. He cannot win this one, can only lose it as he heads to the dugout, and Larry Anderson has been called on. Cincinnati with a 6-4 lead, and it could be more as we continue the bottom of the 5th inning of play. The Reds have 1 run already in, nobody out, and 2 on here in the 5th inning of play. There's your score, 6-4, as the Reds about hit the Phillies 9-5. And the new pitcher is Larry Anderson. He is the right-hander, a big guy who has bounced around in his major league career. As a matter of fact, he has thrown for 13 different professional teams. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about this gentleman. Well, but first, let's pause here, Joe.
A big right-hander, and I think he's just a hard thrower. He throws the slider and the fastball, and that's about it. Middle relief, and certainly you look at a ball game like this, and I'm sure John Felsky is saying, "Okay, Larry, come on and hold him right here and give us a chance." And we're saying, "Come on, Davey, get a base hit. Let's get some more runs." But Steve Carlton, the velocity wasn't there. In all honesty, there was a lot of pitches hit that I think you go back a couple of years, he would get people out on. And so I guess you kind of hold off your judgment on Steve, let him have a couple of more starts and see how he fares. But we talked about the offense of this ball club in Florida, and I think they're proving that they do have some great offensive potential without a doubt.
Well, our situation right now reads Nick Osaski at second base. Tracy Jones with his first major league hit, smiling at first base, and nobody out. Larry Anderson on the mound with the Phillies a year ago, 3-3 with a 4.3 earned run average. And this spring, Larry Anderson was perfect in 5 innings of work. Did not allow a run, walked a man, and struck out 5. He'll face Davey Concepcion for his first pitch of the 1986 regular season. And the shadows have now crept over home plate here at Riverfront, making it a little more difficult for the batter to pick up that baseball. Ball 1.
Well, Davey's trying to bunt now, and he's checking in with Billy DeMars, and there you can see the shadows of the lights. And as Steve pointed out, boy, it does get really tough to pick up that baseball.
Well, Davey gets the bunt down, but it is foul, and the count goes 1 ball and 1 strike. More work. There's Charlie Hudson, who's slated to be the 4th starter, but really, I understand, Joe, they'll go with the 3, Raleigh, Kevin Gross, and Steve Carlton in this month of April.
Well, certainly you want to get your other starters some work. You don't hate to see them go 4 days without 5 days without any action on the mound, and I'm sure that John Felski is thinking that very thing. For instance, well, the pitcher would be the 5th hitter in the 6th inning, but I'm sure we'll see Charlie Hudson here in the ball game.
Runners with the leads. Concepcion pulls the bat back and says, I'll take ball 2, and the count goes 2-1. Carlton started. He has given up 6 runs thus far, but the 2 on base right there belong to him. And Davey Concepcion, the batter, in the ball game. Davey 1 for 2 of the runs scored, a base hit to score a run in the 2nd, and flew out in the 3rd. Puts the bunt down again, but fouls it off again. Now Davey will have to be swinging away unless Pete says, get that bunt down one more time, this time between the lines.
Now, sometimes I know they like to hit and run in this situation. 2-2 the count. Let's see if Pete might put it on. Now Davey's still looking at Billy DeMars, now back into the batter's box, but this is a good situation, a good spot for something like that.
The infield has pulled in. They're playing for that double play, and Concepcion takes outside. Ball 3. We're full. Billy DeMars over at 3rd base. He's the hitting instructor and 3rd base coach and flashing the signals. Can you decode that?
I have an idea, but I'm not sure of it.
Did he call for the home run?
Well, first thing, a base hit.
Davey Concepcion sends a fly ball right side. Foul territory, maybe out of play. Yes, about 3 rows up.
Well, they had the runners going, and which is good. That frees up sometimes a hole somewhere, as Mike Schmidt will go to 3rd to cover and gives him a lot of room on that side, but he hit it to the right side, so that would have been no advantage. Great. I just amazing how you pick out those things.
See the guys going and say, all right, Davey Concepcion. 3-2 the pitch. Steve Jeltz moving in behind Nick Osaski, taking the throw. Is Larry Anderson trying to keep those runners close. They may be going again. Nobody out, though, here in the 5th. 1 run already in. Dave Parker led the inning off with a big home run. Here's the 3-2. And Concepcion fouls it off again.
You can see that would appear to be a fastball in on Davey, and ran quite a bit. With the count 3-2, I don't know what Anderson would throw Davey a slider here or not.
There's a fastball up the middle, base hit. Osaski hustles home. He will score. Thompson bobbling the baseball as Jones moves to 3rd. 7-4 Cincinnati.
A fastball, and you can see it run back over the outside half of the plate, and Davey stayed right on it and hit the ball well. And of course, Milt Thompson bobbling the ball here, but I think the runners would have advanced as they did because they were running. Well, here's old Bo, and he got him a couple of hits already against his former teammates.
Yes, indeed, he's 2 for 2, and Bo goes the opposite way. Scooped up, they'll play at the plate, and Darren Daulton holds onto the baseball there. Jones goes in head first, and there are 1 out finally as the runners advance to first to second.
Well, now that's a good play. You say, well, wait a minute now, nobody out, but with Bo Diaz running, and you know it's no big secret. If Von Hayes goes the other way, it's almost a sure double play. I know you can't assume anything, but still the chances are pretty good. So Billy sent him in, and that breaks up the double play. Now 1 out, and Ron Oster to plate, and you still got 2 more shots at him.
Well, Mr. Oster this afternoon has a base hit to drive it a run, came around to score back in the second, and grounded hard to the shortstop in the third. Ron batting from the left side. He started the game against Carlton, goes after the first pitch and fouls it off. A line shot that goes into the stands. But Oster picked up the base hit from the right side, and he has really improved his hitting from the right side. He's a switch hitter, as you know. Breaking pitch stays low, evens the count 1-1. Concepcion with the lead at second. Diaz at first. Oster swings and again taps it foul. So Anderson has the count his way. 1 ball, 2 strikes. The strategy here, Joe.
The strategy right here is a base hit. But I think you see him try to keep the ball down, certainly hoping to get him to hit the ball on the ground. But
Anderson, though, has a pretty good breaking pitch. Might we see that?
There's a good possibility down and in.
Daulton, his catcher. And there is the breaking stuff a little bit low. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Around the major leagues thus far this afternoon, Boston leading Detroit 2-1 in the 5th. Cleveland is in front of Baltimore 5-0 in the 3rd, and Milwaukee and Chicago in the American League tied at 1 in the 3rd. Oster again spanks it foul. We stay the same, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Our score here this afternoon in the 5th, it's the Reds 7, the Philadelphia Phillies 4. 2 runs home in the inning. Steele only 1 out and 2 on. Misses. We are full at 3-2. This is the same situation that Davey found himself in, and then Anderson had to come in with the fastball, and Davey just lined it hard back up the middle.
That was a fastball that Anderson was hoping to run back over the outside corner, and it just didn't get there.
And there's another good pitch, and it's thrown inside. They also strike out Oster. Catch Concepcion between second and third, and Davies got him in a nice little rundown, and now is finally tagged out to end the inning. But the Reds score 2 in the inning, and they lead as we head to the 6th, 7-4. Cincinnati leads by 3, 7-4 as we head to the 6th inning of play, and the Reds making some defensive changes. Eric Davis moving from center field to left field, and moving into center field, one of the finest defensive outfielders in the game, Eddie Milner. And one of the reasons he's in there is because Larry Anderson's the right-hander on the mound. Hey, look at that. We got fans all over the place. We're talking about L.A. Budweiser.
Who made the sign?
Who made the salad?
Who made the sign? The little fellow or the big guy?
I think both of them kind of. It's a joint effort.
Looks good. I'll buy that. It's going to be a while before we bring on L.A. though. Like June something.
Well, Mario Soto has really settled down. He has put down the last 5 Phillies that he has faced, and that slider is beginning to sneak there on the outside portion of the plate. He throws low and outside right there. It's ball 1. He's facing Glenn Wilson, Von Hayes, and Darren Daulton here in the 6th, and Soto leads by 3. He is like the great ones. You better get to him early or you're not going to get to him at all. Foul off. 2-1. I remember hearing scouts talk about, or players talk about Nolan Ryan. They said, man, if you didn't get to him early, it seemed like that 95-mile-an-hour fastball about the 7th inning would really have the good movement, good snap to it. And I think Soto falls in that category as well, Joe.
Well, I think Nolan Ryan, I don't know the exact figure, but it's just phenomenal. His closing record, we'll call it, from the 7th inning on, is just unbelievable when he's ahead. And Mario has shown signs of that, but right now he's throwing the ball very well, but behind Glenn Wilson, 3-1, leading it off here in the 6th.
Wilson is 0 for 1, sacrificed a run in the first. The Phillies' first run in the game, and Soto with just the hard stuff right down the middle to send the count full 3-2. Ground ball, Davy Concepcion. 1 down. Hey, Riverfront Stadium is the Chickens Coop on Sunday, April 20th, when the Reds play the Astros at 2:15. It's that premier sports entertainer, the famous Chicken, and he'll be all over the stadium giving Reds fans lots for their money. And speaking of money, it's also Family Day at the ballpark with special prices for families who order tickets in advance of game day. That's Sunday, April 20th. The Reds, the Astros, and the Chicken, all part of Big Family Day special date. Bon Hayes steps in now with 1 out. And Soto with a nice little breaking pitch. Misses the outside corner, though. 1 ball, no strikes. One and one. Two balls and 1 strike. Hayes in the game doubled in 2 runs in the first, popped up to the first baseman in the 3rd. Soto is working a little more quickly than he did a year ago. Bo Diaz likes that situation. He thinks, Joe, that the pitchers have a better feel for the strike zone if they work a little quicker.
Well, they have a better rhythm. You get into a good rhythm, and there's a double down the left field line, inside out cut, but Mario made his pitch, and Hayes is a pretty good hitter, but still talking about that working quickly, it keeps you in a rhythm. I remember Bertie Tebbis saying, always be in a hurry to win. And that, I believe that.
Jim Cott of that philosophy. Mario Soto wants a new baseball, rubs it up after Von Hayes collects his 2nd double of the game. And Hayes just kind of inside out and pushed it down the line and has a 2-base hit. And here comes Darren Dalton. He has walked, he has grounded out. Hayes has very good speed. Ball 1. The Phillies trying to rebound from a 3-run deficit. They had a 3-run lead early in this game when they jumped on Soto for 3 big ones in the first, came back with another in the 3rd on the Mike Schmidt home run to tie it. But Cincinnati has scored 3 times since. Ron Robinson has gone down to the Reds bullpen. Man, he looked smashing in spring training. Misses, ball 2.
Well, I think what's going on here, Steve, is it looked like you could see Mario that last pitch saying, I'm getting down underneath and get up on top, is really what he's saying to himself. You could see him do that.
Well, fatigue will bring that on. Pitch is low. It's 3 balls and no strikes. First base is open. Darren Dalton, the batter, the number 8 hitter, is Steve Jeltz, he will be next.
You know, you see, he got up on top of that pitch pretty good, but it was a ball. But that's what he wants to do. You get down underneath it, and it's going to stay up high in a good hitting zone.
Let's see if he gets up on top of it this time with the count 3-0. Yes, he does, and he throws a strike. 3-1. Steve Carlton started it. Larry Anderson has taken over for Philadelphia. Phillies trying to rebound from a very disappointing season in 1985. fastball hit in the air, center field. Milner has it measured, still going back at the wall, will make the catch. Von Hayes will tag at second, and he will race to third. So runner at third now with 2 outs.
See, that's why they put that 404 marker out there. That's what it's all about. I remember the old Polo Grounds, those places. You just let them hit those 400-foot fly balls. So what?
You like those, huh?
As long as someone's there to catch them.
You're on the pitcher's mound going 401, 402,
Yeah,
403.
That's
all
enough.
right.
That's enough. That's right.
Well, Dave Parker hit one, what, about 417?
Now, there's not a whole lot of ballparks that would hold. In fact, none in the National League.
Well, Bo Diaz is coming out to talk to Mario Soto. What does he want to maybe remind him of?
Well, of course, Jeltz is the 8th spot hitter, and he's probably discussing who they might have over on the bench. But I think just telling Mario, hey, now let's get this guy. He's got a couple of hits off of him, and you know it's strange that Jeltz just started switch hitting, I think, this year.
This winter. He put on 15 pounds as well. He tried it in 81, but then abandoned it when he hurt himself, sliding into second base, and he just never felt comfortable. He says, I still feel more comfortable right-handed, but I'm coming around. And he is 2 for 2 in the game. He has a swing and a miss there. 1 ball, 1 strike.
I'm just wondering if Bo didn't go out and say, hey, let's play some hardball here, too, because the first 2 pitches were fastballs.
Yeah, let's quit with the nickel and dime stuff. Let's just bring it in. This guy is a good hitter, but he's a better off-speed hitter than he is the fastballs. Pop foul, 1-2. Sometimes you just have to say, heck with it. I'm throwing on my best stuff. If they hit it, that's the way it goes.
Sometimes exactly the way to approach it.
Mario Soto is going about it just that way. Has the count 1-2. And there is the nickel dime stuff, but it misses inside. It's 2-2. Coming up is Larry Anderson. The question is, will we see him? If Jeltz gets on, they've had Charlie Hudson warming in the bullpen. We might have a pinch hitter.
Looks like Greg Gross with a bat. I don't know that he's the one.
And that's the pitch that Soto wanted. He had the 2-2. He throws the breaking stuff inside again. It's 3-2. Now Jeltz and Soto and Diaz and the 53,000 here know the fastball is coming. Pounded foul. Stays the same. 3-2. In the Phillies dugout, it looks like Rick Shue may have grabbed a bat. He's a young man that sent Mike Schmidt back to third base this year. He was the guy who made the move to third base, sending Schmitty to first, and now Mike has his old spot back. Here's the 3-2 pitch with 2 outs. Outside, misses high, ball 4, and Jeltz is on for the 3rd time in the game, and the tying run now comes to the plate. We're in the 6th inning of play. 2 outs. Buddy Bell will come in slowly to talk with his pitcher, Mario Soto. Von Hayes is at third base, and Steve Jeltz, who has very fine speed, is over at first. And here comes Pete Rose. He was waiting for John Felski to commit himself, and it appears that Joe LaFay will be batting for the pitcher, Larry Anderson, and that will do it for Mario Soto. So he will go 5 2/3 in this ball game. And he has given up the 4 runs. It could be more. He can only win it, though.
Well, he's thrown a lot of pitches, Steve, and I guess you know, when you think of a day like today, the excitement of it, coming out of spring, his first start, and I don't care what you say, you're really putting a lot more effort into it in the opener than you might normally, and I think he's just a little tired. Pete's doing the right thing. So big old.
With the pitching change, Mario Soto out, Ron Robinson on. Reds still leading 7-4 with 2 outs in the 6th. We'll pause for these words. 2 outs in the 6th inning, and there's your situation. The Reds leading by 3, 7-4. And the Reds with a pitching change. Mario Soto is gone. In place of him, fine young right-hander Ron Robinson.
Steve, Ron had a pretty good spring, a 368 earned run average. He worked in 7 games, 22 innings, allowed 26 hits. He struck out 14 and walked just 3. And of course, when you talk about Ron Robinson, you're talking about a good fastball, slider, and a curveball. And there's Mario, as you can see, and he's going to sit and root for Robbie to get him out here and close out the ball game.
Tough young right-hander. He wanted to say hello to Mom, Dad, Becky, and the girls in Woodlake, California. That was the pitch low. As a matter of fact, Ron said he left 2 tickets for Becky. She's home in California, or 3 tickets. And he said if she can catch it, tell her she can catch a flight and get here maybe the 7th inning. So Becky, you heard that. Ground ball, foul, just foul as Nick Gasaski tried to spear it. That would have meant 2 runs in, as you see the ball bounding around in the right field area. Just did sneak past Nick Gasaski in the line by about a foot. And that's a little dangerous as Joe LaFay goes after the first pitch from Ron Robinson. More action in the Reds bullpen. John Franco. Pete Rose wants this one.
Joe LaFay has had some knee problems last year. 84 had missed a whole season, in fact, last year. There's a nice friendly one bouncer. That takes care of things.
And that takes care of everything. Ron Robinson, a couple of pitches, and down go the Phillies. So at the end of 5 1/2 innings of play, Reds still lead at 7-4. Reds leading 7-4 as Ron Robinson able to work out of a Mario Soto jam, and we head to the bottom of the 6th inning of play. And you see that sign. We remember that from years past. And Marge Schott, the owner of the Reds, would put that sign in the stand saying she loves Cincinnati. And there's Marge Schott. And right next to her is Chub Feeney. He threw out the first pitch. He's retiring this year after 17 years as president of the National League. And Governor Dick Celeste off to the right, off to the left of Chub Feeney. Off to your right, and here we go. Bottom of the 6th, Charlie Hudson on the mound. And Charlie, in spring training, had a rough time. 5.2 earned run average, won a game, did not lose any. Ron Robinson will lead things off, and the wave is going here at Riverfront. Pitch by Hudson. Robinson takes it high. 1 ball, 1 strike. Talking to Claude Osteen, the pitching coach of the Philadelphia Phillies yesterday, he said, man, I was really unhappy with this young man. I thought he could be one of the fine young right-handers in the game, but never has really come around. Bust one inside on Ron Robinson, who tried to check his swing, not at time 1 and 2. But he said it's his concentration. Sometimes he'll have it, sometimes he won't. We need Charlie Hudson in a big way in '86. Robinson, ground ball, Samuel. And Ron Robinson puts on the brakes and says, well, there's one down.
Charlie Hudson's an individual that, you just know that somewhere along the line, as you mentioned about Claude, he's going to break loose. He's pitched some outstanding ball for the Phillies. He's pitched a couple of very good games against the Reds, and he has great stuff, and it'll kick in. He'll all of a sudden he'll be very successful.
Well, here is a guy he would like to have very much, Eric Davis, and he'll have him on 1 pitch if Schmidt has room. He is in the dugout, but it's about on the top of the National League dugout right there. Schmidt went as far as he could, said that not going to make a dive for that one. The dugout, Joe, is really in play. You can go into it.
Absolutely. You can just go in there and help yourself. There's no question about it. Anything, you can jump up and catch the ball hanging over the top of the dugout as long as you come back in.
Eric Davis, 3-run homer early in the ball game, tied this game up and sent the Reds onto the lead. It was a 3-0 ball game, 3-1 then, and Davis with 2 on blasted one over the right field wall, and the Reds led. Davis again this time. It will be in play. Schmidt fighting the sun, now in the shadows, says I have it, and he does. And the Reds ticket office is at Riverfront Stadium, and the 580 gift shop are now open daily. Seats for all Reds home games, including special dates like family days, business day specials, and senior citizen dates are on sale now. You can park free on the Stadium Plaza while purchasing tickets. And the Reds computerized ticket system lets you buy the best seats available at all ticket outlets. Reds tickets are also available by mail, phone, and at all Ticketmaster locations. Charlie Hudson will now work to Buddy Bell. Buddy Bell, 14 years in the American League. First start as a Cincinnati Red. 2 outs, pitch to Buddy, and he drives one deep left field. Back goes the center fielder, Milt Thompson. He is there and will make the catch. And that will do it for Cincinnati. In the 6th inning of play, no runs, no hits, no errors, and the score at the end of 6 complete. The Reds leading 7-4. A perfect day for baseball, opening day style, Cincinnati style, and the Reds lead 7-4. You know, you saw that commercial about Nestle's Crunch, and you've seen Pete Rose, but have you seen the pitcher? Well, that pitcher right there is Ted Power with a mustache. And now here's a look at him today. He's the Reds' ace reliever at 27 saves a year ago. He looks good with a mustache.
Yeah, but you see the back of his uniform, his name started with a C. There he is.
I wonder what that's all about. I'll have to go through this and see if he's got a nickname or a middle name. I think that's just all part of it.
Oh, okay. Chocolate.
You think it's chocolate?
I'm going to start calling him, hey, Chocolate. Chalky.
Here's Gary Ritas, former Red, is 1 for 3 today. He has a double. Ron Robinson misses the outside corner. 2 balls, 1 strike. This is Ron Robinson's first opening day, and sitting with him in the clubhouse, he said he was a nervous wreck. He said, you know, I missed it the last 2 times, wanted to be here so badly. Pretty pitch.
Well, I'll tell you, as I said, opening day, regardless of how many times you've been through it, particularly here. Maybe it's like this in every city, but I can't imagine it being as hectic as it is here in Cincinnati. It's just a day you say, well, I'm ready, let's go play. But the fans, the players, you and I, everybody is just, you get uptight for a while.
He's a great young man, and he's working into the fine pitcher. There's a swing and a miss by Gary Ritas. He is gone, and Ron Robinson has cut down 2 Phillies in a row. As a matter of fact, Philadelphia wanted him very badly out of high school.
That is hard to believe that is the first strikeout when you think of all the strikeouts that Steve Carlton and Mario Soto have had in their career, and that is the first strikeout of the ball game.
Ron Robinson has it, and Gary Ritas is down, and here is Milt Thompson. 1 out, nobody on. 7-4 ball game, Reds lead. Ron also wanted to wish his dad best of luck, as he's probably in the spring football season. He's a football coach at Woodlake High School, and matter of fact, that young man, number 33, Ron Robinson, was one of the finest quarterbacks in the northern California area.
Have you ever met Ron's brother?
No, I haven't.
He's a pretty good sized young man.
His dad is like 6'5", 278, and he said he knew how to handle the ball players' discipline. Here's a ground ball right back to Ron Robinson, 2 down.
No, you don't argue with Pop. Pop Robinson, you just say, yes, sir.
Go about your business. That's why he's won, I think, the last 4 league championships out in Woodlake, California. And Ron goes home in the offseason, helps his dad out, watches in the sideline, gets a little nervous, and then gets ready for spring training. Here's Juan Samuel. He is due. Fastball outside corner. Here's the 0-1. Oh, great breaking pitch. 0-2. Samuel in the hole. He tied Dale Murphy 1 year ago for most strikeouts in the National League with 141. Robinson trying to nail the corner at the knees, but Samuel would not go fishing. It's 1-2.
Well, that was an excellent pitch by Ron Robinson, and it was just off the plate, and that's exactly what you try to do. You either make a perfect pitch. There's another one almost in the same spot, but you try to make a perfect pitch. If it's not a strike, you want it off the plate, not where in a good hitting zone at all.
Samuel calls time. Steps out. Back in. The count is 2-2, and he's ready. Breaking pitch hit in the air. High in the air. Davis using his glove as a shield to get the sun away and makes the catch. We head to the bottom of the 7th inning of play, and Cincinnati still leads by 3. Charlie Hudson back on the mound for his 2nd inning of work. Reds lead 7-4. Dave Parker is the first man that Charlie Hudson will face. And Parker takes one inside for a ball. 1-0. Dave yesterday was hitting every single pitch out of the ballpark in batting practice, and he's shown it this afternoon with a double and a home run. 2 balls, no strikes. Matter of fact, stepped out of the cage yesterday and he said, time to put my game face on. He said, it's amazing how I can hit so poorly in the spring, but as soon as I get home I feel great and I'm ready to hit. Parker drives one deep right field. Foul ball. Wow.
Well, I'd like to be going home on that one. I mean, you get there to hurt. He's trying to little body English here. Get it over here, Dave. Come on now. Bend a little further.
He was trying to hit that one to Fort Thomas, Kentucky. Hudson throws one outside, and the count is even. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Stays the same. Double in the 1st. A home run with nobody on in the 5th. And coming up next, Nicky Saski. Left field side, racing over Gary Reedus. It's over his head. Extra bases for Dave Parker. He is starting like he left off in 1985, a most valuable player year. 2 doubles and a home run. Dave Parker 3 for 4.
I don't think Dave, he'll take that, but after a couple of bullets, might as well hit a softy somewhere.
And Gary Reedus knows Riverfront's left field area very well, and you could almost tell, hey, Gary, that ball's going to bounce over your head.
He did that a few times last year, but a lot of people get caught up. It's a difficult situation for the outfielder.
Here's Nick Saski. Takes it high.
You can gamble and, save an extra base or go after it and hope you catch it. It's just a tough situation sometimes, and Gary was in a pretty tough situation right there.
Saski, the drive is to right. Mill Thompson over. Parker will tag. The catch is made, and Dave will make it easily, cruising into 3rd base. Nick Saski used to be just a dead pull hitter, but that little compact stroke by Billy DeMars, and even though he is 0 for 3 in the ball game, he's walked once. He's hit the ball hard, and he's hit the ball hard to the opposite field. Once to center straightaway 400 feet, and this one to about 390 in right center. He's got that Dale Murphy power where he can't go the opposite way well.
You look at something like that, and the next best thing Nick could have done is drive the run in, but he did the job in getting Dave over to 3rd, where he's in good scoring position with Eddie Milner at the plate. And to me, that's a base hit. It doesn't show up in the stats, but that's a base hit, even if he grounds to the right side.
Well, if you're scoring, you can mark Eddie Milner's name right by Tracy Jones, because that's who he is hitting for. When he went in there to play center field, moving Eric Davis to left field, Eddie Milner went in the number 5 position in the batting order. Batting for Tracy Jones, who in his first start was able to pick up his first major league base hit. Scored a run, stole a base. made things happen. Charlie Hudson talking things over with his young catcher Darren Dalton, and will now go back to the mound and work on Eddie Milner with the count 2-0. 1 out. Parker on third. Stays high, ball 3. Boy, he's really working himself into a tough situation, because if Milner gets on, runners at the corners and that young man's speed, and all of a sudden you're bothered by the guy at first base with Bo Diaz and Davy Concepcion on deck. There's Davy.
Well, they're going to make Eddie hit a bad pitch now. They're not going to give him anything that he can really handle, or shouldn't, because of the right-handed batter coming up, and certainly the Phillies would like to get in a double play situation. No question about that. So they're going to make Eddie hit their pitch.
3-1 the count. Parker with the lead at third. Milner with a ground ball to the first baseman, Von Hayes, who has Parker in the rundown. Milner is already at second base. Parker will be tagged out of the play. They just do get him as Eddie Milner is able to escape to second base. So he's on at second, and Parker is gone. Nice play by Von Hayes.
There's nothing wrong with that. You say, well, you take a runaway, which is true, but the thing about it is Dave did a good job in allowing Eddie to get to second base. He prolonged the out long enough for Eddie to get there easily, and of course, so you can see Dalton going all out to put the tag on Dave, and about a step too late he was.
Coming up, a buddy of Joe Nuxall's and mine, Marty Brennaman's going to step in. Davy Concepcion fouls it off. 1 strike to Davy with 2 outs and a runner at second base now.
It's good today. Sherry dressed him up just beautifully. I'm proud of him.
Where did he get that suit? Beautiful
I
outfit.
don't know. That's all part of the hairdo. Joe Morgan sent it to him.
Here's the pitch by Charlie Hudson. Good hook, and it is a strike.
He and Joe did have a, I don't know. You might check in with him on that, because I know they had the same guy that they used to buy clothes off of, and I think it was New York or something. And you might check in.
I'll have to ask Marty about that.
I just merely say I mentioned it, and didn't mean anything by it, but thought we'd like to find out.
Well, I'll mention that Joe is in his dapper red this afternoon with the navy blue pants, navy blue tie, the white shirt.
This coat's about as old as you are, Fizz.
Well, you told me you've been to 113 opening days. How old's the coat? Charlie Hudson. Here's the 0-2 pitch to Davy Concepcion. Just as miss low. It's 1-2.
I got this off of Jesse. Just one of Jesse's hand-me-downs.
Jesse is 2 hour left. He is known as the technical director. Here's the 1-2 pitch to Dave Concepcion with Milner at second base, and there's a ground ball. Shortstop Jeltz. Down go the Reds, but they hold to that 3-run lead. 7-4. We will head to the 8th inning of play, and Marty Brennaman's coming in. Just 2 innings to go for the Cincinnati Reds. Ron Robinson back to the mound, and a great crowd on hand as the Reds lead 7-4. Sellout crowd. The earliest sellout crowd since 1977, and Pete Rose talking about opening days, and he was talking about being nervous early today. He says you don't get butterflies because you're nervous, you get them because of emotion. Right now, he says we got to concentrate that emotion, turn it into strategy, and right now, Marty Brennaman, he's got to be pleased about the way Ron Robinson's throwing the baseball.
I hope to shout he does, Steve. Robbie has done an outstanding job. He goes to work on Mike Schmidt as we start the 8th inning, and Schmidt attempts to bunt the ball and just got a piece of it. He has hit 1 of 3 home runs hit out of here today. Led off the 3rd with a drive over the left field fence that at the time got the Phillies even at 4 runs apiece. Of course, you know the story since then. The Reds got 1 in the bottom of the 3rd, 2 more in the 5th inning, and that's where we're at score-wise. 7-4 Reds. 1 ball, 1 strike. Phillies with only 3 hits since getting 3 in the 1st inning. One to Schmidt is taken. Ball 2, 2 balls and 1 strike. Reds bullpen remaining active. John Franco, who went down to start throwing in the last inning, is doing it again. Here's a drive. Schmidt might have his second. Milner at the wall. It's off the top of the fence. And Mike will not chance going to third. Eric Davis, a fine job of backing up on that play. He came all the way over from left field when Milner made the all-out effort to track it down, and thanks to Davis, Mike Schmidt goes no further than second base. We'll take a look at it again, and Schmidt really put a charge into this pitch. In fact, he looks like he thinks it might be out of here, Milner. And you see how close that ball came to getting out, and there's Davis, who came racing over and holds Schmidt to a double. So Mike with 2 extra base hits in this season opening game, and Robbie going to work now and gets that first pitch in for a strike. John Franco, as we mentioned, getting ready in the event that his services might be needed. It's a first base runner off Ron Robinson, the double by Mike Schmidt. Strike 2 is called, and Robbie coming right back against Glenn Wilson and very quickly putting him in a big hole. Esaski, Robinson, and Schmidt goes to third. That'll bring up Von Hayes, who also has had a good first day. A 2-run double in the first inning, and then after popping up in the third, he doubled to left in the sixth. Everything all right, pal?
Everything is just going great. As a matter of fact, Joe Nuxall, he wanted me to tell you that you look terrific today. Love the outfit. Wants to know if Joe Morgan got it for you.
Did he deliver that message?
He delivered that message, and he said, I want you to be sure and tell Marty that I said that.
Here's the 0-1 pitch, and it'll be a foul ball.
You're giving one of those no comments.
No, I'm not. I'm just getting ready to deliver a message myself. Well, what this message has to do with is, one, that lovely red jacket that he has on today. Then I guarantee you Joe Morgan wouldn't wear it. He's too well dressed to wear that coat, Joe Morgan. Here's the 0-2 pitch. And that's a dribbler. And let's see if Robbie can make the play. Nice play to retire Hayes, and they hold Schmidt at third.
Man, did he ever make a nice play. Ron Robinson, like a cat getting down there, and the whole time, Marty, was the great thing about it was that he went at it with a great deal of poise, very relaxed, and he put himself in a good position to make the play when he threw the baseball. His legs were square, then gets it, and just a quick whipping throw. Got his man. That's a nice play.
And a big key indeed, Steve, is the fact that he did call off Bo Diaz. You could have a situation there where both of them go for it. Neither says anything. You either have a collision or all of a sudden both pull up short at the last moment thinking the other is going to play it. But no breakdown in communication that time. Robbie took charge and comes up with a big second out while holding Schmidt at third base. Darren Dalton. Ball 1.
He was a quarterback in high school. He's used to making those decisions. Maybe that was a little audible. Line of scrimmage calling off Bo Diaz.
Tell you one thing, he was a good-sized quarterback in high school. 2 balls and no strikes. Set all kinds of Northern California passing records.
28 touchdowns, 2,400 yards his senior year. Dad's the coach.
Could have gone major college in football, but opted for baseball, and so far things have turned out well. Eddie Milner looking for the third out, and there it is. A leadoff double by Mike Schmidt, and then Robinson said that's all you're going to get. No runs, a hit, 1 left. Middle of the 8th. The Reds 7, the Phillies 4.
Reds lead 7-4 over the Philadelphia Phillies on opening day 1986. Marge Schott talking with some of the fans. She, the owner of the Reds, excited about her situation, and there's Bill Burgess joining her, and we have Kent Tecovey, who has been warming up. Charlie Hudson will remain on the mound for the Philadelphia Phillies, and he will face Bo Diaz, Ron Oster, and Ron Robinson here in the Reds' half of the 8th.
And Bo Diaz with a couple of hits and a run batted in. He's 2 for 3. Charlie Hudson came out in the 6th inning and has not given the Reds any runs. He's allowed 1 hit, a double by Dave Parker. So has done a good job in this relief appearance. He works to Diaz, and Bo jumps away and stares out toward the mound. Ball 1. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Boy, does he give you that little mel out where he picks that left leg up, and I mean really picks it up and kind of pulls it out. Leaves himself open, but his upper body adjusts to the pitch so well.
He'd fit right in over in Japanese baseball. I mean, you see them all doing it that way.
His brother is Bo-O.
Oh, give me a break. Here's a 1-1 pitch, and he has his 3rd hit. Would you sit up half the night coming up with that, Jim?
Sadaharu O, Hank Aaron, Bo-O.
Bo-O. I got your Bo-O. Here's Ron Oster. Oster single RBI in the 2nd, has reached on a fielder's choice and then struck out into a double play in the 5th inning. That hit by Diaz, number 12. The Reds with an even dozen. Well, the left-hander has joined Tecalvi down in the Philadelphia bullpen. Try and pick that lad's number out. Looks like Dave Rucker, and it is. So Rucker the left-hander, Tecalvi the right-hander. Oster, base hit. Diaz stops at 2nd, and the Reds are trying to cook something up here in the 8th inning on back-to-back base hits.
And let me tell you about our future. The Reds' 86 home schedule features lots of senior citizen specials, and there's one coming up on Wednesday, April 23rd against the Padres. Sponsored by Super X drugstores this season, veteran Reds fans may again buy either box or reserve seats at half price in advance of game day. Join the Reds in Super X drugstores for every senior citizen special in 86, including Wednesday, April 23rd against the Padres.
Mercy, did you do that nice?
I had to read that.
You read well. Read very well.
I can tell it's going to. This is the first one. It's going to be a long year working with you guys.
I tell you one thing, though, son, it's going to be fun. I just love to be surrounded by competent people. Ray Noni and Alfers, my main man right here, JJ. I'm telling you. Here's a pitch coming to Robinson. Swung on and hit well back into right center field. And it's going to be caught on the run by the right fielder, Wilson. Tagging and coming on to 3rd is Diaz. Well, the slug bunt for Ron Robinson pays off a heck of a lot better than it did back in the 4th inning when Steve Carlton tried it.
Tell you, Bo Diaz was very alert about this play. He thought it might get over his head. You see him leading away from 2nd base. He runs down the line just a bit, and then he says, wait a second, he has a chance for it. So hustles back towards the bag. Wilson makes the nice catch, but by then Diaz is at 2nd base. Wilson slips and has no chance to get Bo Diaz, who has no speed at all.
1st and 3rd, 1 out, Eric Davis. A contributor in a major way today. A 3-run homer back in the 2nd. Ball 1. We're still waiting on an attendance figure here in the 8th inning. No doubt we'll have it in fairly short order. At 3rd base, meanwhile, is Diaz. At first, Ron Oster. Hudson in trouble. And now the Reds are Jeltz, Samuel, and the throw got him. Bang, bang call by Spanky Fremming at first. And the double play denies the Reds a run. No runs, 2 base hits. They leave 1. The Phillies will bat in the 9th inning, and they'll bat trailing 7-4. Ron Robinson needs to negotiate 3 more outs, and the Reds will have their 11th opening day victory in the last 13 years, leading 7-4, and we are in the top half of the 9th inning. The Reds broke a 4-4 tie in the 3rd inning on a base hit, 1 of 3 on the afternoon by former Philly Bo Diaz, and they have never been headed since. In fact, as inning by inning has rolled along and you watch Jeltz head toward the plate, the Phillies have collected only 4 hits over the last 7 innings, upon collecting 3 runs on as many base hits, and the first off Mario Soto, who stands to pick up the win. And Robinson, of course, if he can finish, will not just save. The attendance today, 54,960. 54,960. And the pitch is into Jeltz for a called strike. That's a look at a tremendous opening day crowd here in Cincinnati. Strike 1 pitch. 1 ball, 1 strike.
I got up this morning, Marty, and I called St. Louis, our station in St. Louis, and a friend of mine. I said, what's the weather like there? And he told me it's beautiful. So I knew we were in good news, because you're always worried. Remember last year when it started out so nice?
You're right.
And the Farmer's Almanac called for snow.
Well, last year we had everything. If you remember, it was raining one minute, it was snowing the next, we had wind, and it was cold. Strike 2 on the inside. 2-2 now on Jeltz. Phillies will be going to their bench after Steve Jeltz finishes swinging the bat. And that's Greg Gross, veteran pinch hitter for this Philadelphia Philly ball club. Jeltz has had a couple of hits, and as a matter of fact has been on all 3 times, 2 hits and a walk. Two balls and 2 strikes. And another foul back. If you're wondering about this crowd today, 54,960, it represents a new opening day attendance record. Last year, 52,971. And this betters that mark by almost 2,000. Robinson again. Maya. Strike 3 call. And Jeltz goes back to the dugout, bat in hand.
What a great pitch that was. A little breaking pitch on the inside corner of the plate after working with fastballs where he held the seams with the seams and against the seams to get it to ride, to get it to drop, and then he just breaks this little slider off on the inside portion of the plate. And Jeltz is saying it's inside. No, it ain't. It's strike 3.
So the first batter disposed of for Ron Robinson, and now it's Gross. Second Philadelphia pinch hitter in the ball game. Joe LaFay pinch hit in the 6th inning, and he was the first man who Robinson faced. Ron got him to ground to Isaski. 1 ball, 1 strike.
That's that pitch where he holds the ball with the seams where it will ride. Right before that, that fastball against the seams where it kind of has a little sinking effect. And, man, he has such great control over those pitches.
Grounded to the right side. Oster makes a nice play. 2 out. Ron Oster cut it off at the pass. And the rest was history.
There it is. Oster getting over so quickly. And look at his feet, the position they're in to make the throw. And he has about as good an arm as any second baseman in the game. 2 down, and we've got 1 more to go before the folks go home happy.
Indeed, the Phillies down to their final out, and it's Gary Reedus. Reedus has doubled, but since that time has grounded out twice, and in the 7th inning he struck out. One ball and 1 strike. Robinson has pitched 3 innings of 1-hit shutout baseball. Has struck out 2, has not walked a batter. And Reedus on the short end. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Pete Rose talking a mile a minute at this point. I'm sure he likes his club's chances of nailing down win number 1. And hey, you can't go undefeated unless you win that first one. Scott Breeden's got to be pleased. His pitching coach standing alongside, and now the crowd starts up as Robbie checks with Diaz and fires. And it's 2 balls and 2 strikes.
The crowd swelling in anticipation of Ron Robinson trying to get that strikeout here to end this game. And who, you got Gary Reedus, the former Red, standing in there.
Gary trying to keep him alive. Robbie trying to end it. And it's ball 3, and I give Reedus a lot of credit. In a situation like this, you've got to have some discipline to take a pitch that close. So the string is out. Milt Thompson on deck, hoping to get an at-bat. The payoff. And that should do it. Dave Concepcion calling. Oster, and this one belongs to the Reds. A brilliant piece of relief work by right-hander Ron Robinson, getting congratulations from his teammates. Pete Rose slowly making his way out across the first base foul line to join the rest of the Cincinnati Reds ball club, and congratulating Robbie for a job well done. 3 1/3 innings of one-hit shutout ball. He gets a save. Mario Soto gets a win. And a big afternoon here in Cincinnati as the Kroger fireworks explode overhead. And the Reds have won Game 1 of this 1986 baseball season. The final score, Reds 7, Philadelphia 4, and we'll be back. Another successful opening day game here at Riverfront Stadium as the Reds defeat the Philadelphia Phillies by a final score of 7-4 today. A game that they were down 3-0 early and were able to come back and pull it out on some home run power and some great pitching. Great start, Steve.
Yeah, and the stars of today's ball game had to be Eric Davis and Dave Parker as far as the bats were concerned. Davis with a home run and Parker with 2 doubles and a home run. But I think the real star may have been Ron Robinson, because middle relief was such a question mark, and he put in 3 1/3 of just brilliant pitching tonight.
No question about that. He got the save, but our Old Spice play of the game came back in the second inning when the Reds were trailing by a score of 3-1, and it was a shot to deep right field by Eric Davis on that pitch by Steve Carlton. That was a drive to right. Glenn Wilson simply ran out of room as Davis showed his great opposite field power with a home run that just cleared the inner wall and right. And that turned a 3-1 deficit into a 4-3 Cincinnati win. Our Old Spice play of the game here at Riverfront Stadium. The blow that turned it around. The Phillies came back to tie it, but then Bo Diaz had the base hit an inning later that put the Reds in front 5-4. They never looked back.
And this is also a situation that I think Mario Soto has to maybe sit and talk to himself in the clubhouse and say, hey, you know, last year I ran into some bad luck. This year I didn't pitch so well on opening day, yet I get the win. Maybe these good things are going to happen to me.
Well, his own era paved the way for 3 unearned runs, but a big day here in Cincinnati today. Dave Parker, great day. 7-4 the final score as the Reds go 1-0 right out of the gate. Today's game has been brought to you by Budweiser. Beechwood Age for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. And by your Toyota dealers who remind you to get more from life. Buckle up. Who could ask for anything more? And by Long John Silver Seafood Shops.
Cincinnati Reds baseball has been brought to you locally by your best quality Ford dealers, offering special financing on selected models. And by Delta, the official airline of Cincinnati Reds broadcast. Delta gets you there. And by your local Kroger stores. Join us for our next telecast of Cincinnati Reds baseball, Saturday at 10 p.m. when the Reds meet the Padres at Jack Murphy Stadium. This has been a multimedia sports production on the Cincinnati Reds
7, the Philadelphia Phillies 4. From Joe Nuxall and Steve Physiak, this is Marty Brennaman saying so long, everybody.